The Democrat Party has for decades systematically grown and weaponized the administrative state against the American people, and the American people have had enough of it. Nothing excites me more than the thought of President Trump initiating the largest deportation operation in American history. I'd like to remind the committee that the purpose of our immigration system is for the benefit of American citizens, not foreigners or anybody else.
MAGA star absolutely humiliated Jasmine Crocket in Congress, ripping apart her emotional pleas with cold, brutal precision. What started as Crockett's fiery defense of immigrants turned into a shocking takedown that exposed the Democrats' political games for what they really are.
I feel as if my colleagues from across the aisle have decided that they are going to make immigrants the boogeyman. It's insanity to me, but they also are showing compassion for victims, which they should, but they have no compassion for people that are contributing to making us great in this country. So, interestingly enough, I'm curious to know, Mr. Beer, if you know if immigrants contributed to these particular crimes. There was a mass shooting in Buffalo, New York that killed a number of African Americans as they were trying to shop for groceries. Was the defendant an immigrant in that case? Do you know?
No, he was a U.S.-born citizen.
Thank you so much. Charleston, South Carolina, there were black churchgoers trying to praise the Lord. They were killed. Was that an immigrant that perpetrated that or not?
No, that was a U.S.-born citizen.
Thank you so much. Now, coming home to Texas, there was an El Paso shooting. Do you know if that was an immigrant or not?
No, they were targeting immigrants in that case.
In fact, each of these cases, it was white supremacists. And so the last unanimous consent that I'd asked for is this article that states that white supremacists behind over 80% of extremism-related U.S. murders in 2022.
The hearing wasn't calm and polite. Democrats sat there shocked as if Republicans had personally invented the idea of blaming immigrants for America's problems. According to them, the GOP's entire playbook was nothing more than fear-mongering with a little scapegoating on the side. Republicans, of course, weren't about to sit quietly. They came loaded with their own ammunition, hard numbers, tough language, and just enough outrage to make it sting. Enter Jasmine Crocket. Crocket went down the list of America's ugliest tragedies and forced the room to face them head-on. Buffalo, New York. 10 black shoppers killed in a grocery store. Was the killer an immigrant? Nope, just another homegrown U.S. citizen. Charleston, South Carolina. 9 black churchgoers murdered during worship. Immigrant? Wrong again. Another American-born killer.
Republicans want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse from our federal government and save taxpayer dollars. And Democrats want to grandstand and play politics. We can see right now, even, of the 6 Democrats on this committee, only 1 can even be bothered to stay for the duration of this hearing. All we've heard about for most of this hearing from the other side of the aisle is Elon Musk, unelected bureaucrat. And I'd like to ask if Democrats really care about unelected bureaucrats making decisions over our lives, where were they whenever their god Anthony Fauci was forcing vaccine and mask mandates on the American people for 4 years during the COVID crisis? Where were they whenever unelected Alejandro Mayorkas was facilitating the invasion of our country by illegal aliens who were murdering and raping and pillaging our people? Where were they whenever the Secretary of Education, unelected Cardona, targeted states and schools and people who were disagreed with his view of the radical left's transgender ideology? Where were they whenever Gary Gensler, former chairman of the SEC, also unelected, was lawlessly thwarting the development of financial markets, particularly in the crypto space, by lawlessly pursuing regulation via enforcement? They were nowhere to be seen because they don't care, because all of those things benefited their side of the aisle at the expense of ours. Nothing excites me more than the thought of President Trump initiating the largest deportation operation in American history. I'd like to remind the committee that the purpose of our immigration system is for the benefit of American citizens, not foreigners or anybody else. For the past 4 years, Democrats have facilitated the invasion of over 10 million illegal aliens into our country. Open borders grow the welfare state, they depress American wages, strain our education and healthcare system, price our working class out of owning a home, and flood our communities with violence and drugs. Mr. Beer, and as well as my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, you're intellectualizing about illegal alien crime notwithstanding. I'd like to remind you that the correct number of American citizens murdered or raped by illegal aliens is 0. Americans have learned firsthand that importing the third world will turn America into the third world. So in light of the chaos of the past 4 years, the question that has come up earlier is, why are our Democrat colleagues so determined to flood our country with millions of illegal aliens? And I'd like to suggest that perhaps it's because they benefit from it politically. Remember that every state is apportioned congressional seats based on population, not based on citizenship. Counting non-citizens in congressional apportionment has resulted in more seats for blue states and fewer congressional seats for red states. For instance, excluding non-citizens, California would have an estimated 3 fewer congressional seats. In Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, traditionally red states would each have an estimated 1 additional seat. Right now, in a political environment where Republicans have a 2-seat majority in the House of Representatives, the presence of millions of illegal aliens in America could quite literally change the balance of power in our country. But the problem doesn't stop at congressional apportionment. The ultimate goal of mass illegal immigration is mass amnesty and citizenship for illegal aliens, which of course means ultimately allowing them to vote. And that's not a conspiracy theory either. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer himself said it just 2 years ago, and I'm quoting him, "Our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million, or however many undocumented there are here." That is their words, not mine. And it appears that for the past 4 years, providing a path to citizenship for illegal aliens is precisely what the Biden administration has been doing. This isn't a theoretical or a hypothetical problem. This is happening right now. The political party that has nothing to offer voters but inflation, censorship, and transgenderism is weaponizing mass illegal immigration to their own political benefit. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
But then came the response. The MAGA star across from her didn't even pretend to wrestle with Crockett's point. Instead, he cut straight to the headline: Trump's plan for the largest deportation operation in American history. Delivered with the kind of confidence that says, yes, I meant every word, and no, I'm not sorry. And then came the line that sucked the oxygen out of the room. According to him, America's immigration system isn't for foreigners, period. It exists only for American citizens. Short, sharp, and deliberately dismissive of every ounce of Crockett's passion. The message couldn't have been clearer if it had been written in bold on a billboard. If you're not a citizen, the system isn't yours. End of story. But of course, he wasn't done. He accused Democrats of orchestrating what he called nothing less than a 10 million strong invasion over the last 4 years. Not immigration, not migration, invasion. Seats in the House, he reminded everyone, aren't based on citizenship, they're based on population. California, thanks to its massive undocumented population, ends up with 3 extra seats in Congress. Meanwhile, red states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, they each lose a seat. Suddenly, it wasn't just a border issue, it was a power grab. And he didn't stop there. He pointed out that Republicans hold a razor-thin majority of just 2 seats in the House. That's all that separates one party's agenda from the other.
The Constitution did not create an unelected, unaccountable 4th branch of government in the administrative state. The American people know this. My colleague Brian Jack discussed some of the opinion polls recently. We are doing, and President Trump is doing exactly what he was elected to do. And that's why he's polling at a 53% approval rating, higher than he was at any point during his first administration.
The climax was brutal. The MAGA star didn't just push back. He mocked the very idea of democratic compassion, exposing it as nothing more than political greed dressed up in sympathy. He claimed immigration had become their cover for failure, inflation left unchecked, censorship running wild, and cultural battles like transgender debates used as shiny distractions. Then he flipped Crockett's entire argument on its head. The real threat wasn't immigrants, it was the party exploiting them for power. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to get more updates.